All right, welcome to the playground, where I'm your host, Eddie Llewellyn, and today my guest is Brenda Lee. Now, if you don't remember Brenda Lee, let's go back a few years, okay? First of all, Brenda, welcome to the show.
Thank you. And my last name is, you can, and as an introduction, you can say Brenda Lee Eager.
Okay, you said it for me. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. But we're gonna go back a few years. If you, man, the groove on this song, ain't Understanding Mellow. I went do 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 do.
Oh man, you're pulling that up.
I remember that when I'm like, oh my gosh. And then of course your vocal thing was just incredible. And for those who don't remember, that's Ain't Understanding Mellow with the famous Jerry Butler. Please, please. There's so much I want to cover with you, and we have like so little time, but I want to be sure to, first of all, as I told Brenda before we started, incredible songwriter. And I really want to focus on that because as I mentioned before, and those that know me as far as like Facebook, I posted a few months back directly to songwriters, how do you do it, right? And I was just telling Brenda before we started the show that I wish I had known her then just to see what her answer would be. I wish we'd even done this interview back then, because I do want to focus on that part of your career. I mean, incredible singer, that goes without saying. So
talk about any of it, anything you want to talk about.
Awesome. Awesome. And again, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
It's really
great. So that's one song we talked about, and they did an incredible cover of Close to You, the Carpenters' Close to You. Mm-hmm. And then for those more recently who remember the song If This World Were Mine, check out their version of this song.
Oh,
back in the days of like the duets, we had like the Marvin Gaye's and Tammy Terrell's duet, Roberta Flack and Donny Hathaway. Check out Jerry Butler and Brenda Lee, and especially on this version of the song If This World Were Mine, okay, which was a song written by Marvin Gaye.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have so many stories I can tell you when you speak.
Please tell me.
When you speak of Marvin, there's a song that you can get on YouTube. It's called There Ain't No Way. And it was produced by Ed Townsend. Ed produced that record, and he just produced Let's Get It On with Marvin. Mm-hmm. So this is how I really met Marvin and became friends with Marvin. We were all in the studio one day, and I had just recorded that record. And Marvin looks at me and says, Ben, I don't really like your background. He said, can I put your background on? I'm like, yes. So on that song, if you hear, and it's on YouTube, There Ain't No Way, that's Marvin Gaye and Ed Townsend doing the backgrounds.
There ain't no way. Okay.
Baby, there ain't no way.
For the listeners that are watching this, look for that on YouTube.
Yeah, Brenda Lee Eager, There Ain't No Way.
Awesome. Awesome. As far as like people that you performed with, I mean, you've got like a virtual who's who. As a matter of fact, when I was doing my notes, I'm like, these are people so famous that we just refer to them by first names.
Right.
Okay. She performed with Ray.
Yeah.
Diana.
Yeah.
Stevie.
Yeah.
Donnie.
Yeah.
Roberta. And I was surprised to see Graham Nash of Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young.
Yes, I had a most wonderful tour with Graham. We're still really good friends.
Awesome.
Yeah. With Donnie was one of the first people that I worked with as far as being out there already.
Really? And do you remember what the hit was at the time that he had done?
I'm going to tell you two stories about Donnie. The first one is when you hear that piano that Wurlitz on Ain't Understanding Mellow. That's Donnie Hathaway playing. Yes. Yeah.
I promise you, I was going to ask you, I didn't know how to address that because I didn't know if that was just like an unknown street musician who had done that, because I'm a keyboard player, as you know myself, right?
Oh, yes, right.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So when I heard that, like I said, I just thought that was like a session play. I'll stay away from that. That was Donny Hathaway.
That was Donny Hathaway.
Of course. I forgot what the line was, but it had to do with rain.
Yeah.
The rain coming down.
I'm trying to think.
because it was perfectly timed, whatever that line was, and it
Yeah.
yeah.
That's Donnie. That's Donnie. And Philip Church was on the bass.
Like I said, this lady has worked with a virtual who's who in the business. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Now let me really blow
Now
your mind.
Philip Church toured with you.
No, he was in the studio.
In the studio. Okay.
And played on Understanding Mellow like Donnie.
Okay. Okay. All right.
I went to Donnie's house once for a rehearsal, and we were sitting around the piano, just doodling, and he had a jar of honey on the top of the piano. He loved to eat honey right out of the jar.
Oh wow!
And so it was before the other singers got there, so it was just him and me. And he says, "I want to play you something." He says, I'm thinking about recording this record. Listen to it and let me know if you think it's a hit." So I said, okay. And he put his Farfisa on. This is when he had a white Farfisa. They had just come out.
The white Farfisas.
They had just come out, man. Stevie had one. Donnie had one. Right. All you guys probably had one.
Right. Yep. I remember it well. Yep.
And he strapped it on and he went. I was one of the first, and I told him, I said, if you don't record that, you're gonna go crazy. This is a hit, Donnie. This is a smash. Really? And the rest is history.
It is, and I got to ask you because I remember seeing I forgot who it was, but they were talking about it was a documentary on Donny Hathaway, of course, and one of the session musicians at the time had talked about like that particular section, and he was saying that he had gone when they come to the session, when they come to the session, they're playing like the song, and then they come to that part, and everybody in the studio was like, "What? What was that?" And they loved it. I mean, who does that?
I know.
And when you heard that, I mean, your reaction was, I mean, you told him it's a hit.
I knew it was going to be a big record, just like I knew Ain't Understanding. There's something when you hear something that's really so well together, and then you get that feeling. Songwriting is about really painting pictures, but you got to paint those emotions right along with the paint those pictures. And have that emotion move into those pictures, because it's a life. A song has a life, and you give it life by painting colors with passion and imagery and color and feeling and chords.
Tell him.
Not just, but give us some movement. Progression.
Awesome. When did you how and when did you find like your calling as far as like songwriting itself?
Very, very early. When I was in the 3rd grade, I loved to write short stories and poetry. And I just never stopped. When I was in the 9th grade, I had my own little singing group, and I was writing my own songs for the group.
Wow, as early as 9th grade?
As early in the 9th grade, because when I was in the 9th grade, I heard, like a snowball rolling down the side of a snow-covered hill. It's growing. Smokey Robinson was like, whoa. Is that a picture for you? You can
totally.
You can see that snowball rolling down, and it's getting bigger. And the next line, like the size of a fish that the man claimed broke his reel. Now, doggone well, he's lying, but he's telling it, and that lie is just growing, But there's humor there, there's color there, there's imagery there, a sense of time, place, and character. These are all the things I teach when I teach songwriting. So, I and by the time I was in the 12th grade, man, I was gone, and my first record was a record that got me the deal with Jerry Butler. Chuck Jackson, Jesse's brother, and I started writing together. And we wrote a song. My first record with Jerry was If It's Real What I Feel. And you can find that on YouTube too. But I co-wrote that, and it helped me to get a record deal with Jerry. So and songwriting has always paved the way for me.
Thank you. Little known fact that you just kind of mentioned Chuck Jackson being the brother of Jesse Jackson.
Now you want to I made plenty of mistakes, big ones, big ones.
Please. And as I was saying, that's what this show is about. I mean, we want to know how, I mean, even the bumps and bruises that you got along the way.
Okay. When I was the record started moving really fast. It's real what I feel. So we were on the road. I was on the road with Jerry and having a ball. As a matter of fact, Ain't Understanding Mellow was out too.
Mm-hmm.
I get this call from Chuck and Marvin, who they were my dearest friends. Marvin Yancey was my piano player at church. So,
wow.
So we were all very close.
Mm-hmm.
And I get this phone call from
I
Chuck.
love this story. I love this story.
And he says, Lily, we gotta talk. Says, you're on the road, but me, you, and Marvin, we gotta write songs together. We're gonna be like Holland Doja Holland. We're gonna be this. Oh, he was so excited, and I just listened to him. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm on the road and I gotta hit record. He said, but Lee, this is a chance for us, a major chance for us to become that like a corporation. I'm like, well, Chuck, I don't think I want to do that. He said, but we got this girl. We already got an artist. We got this first girl, and we want you to come on in and we write for her and produce. And her name is Natalie Cole. And I'm saying, I don't think so. Duh. Oh my God. We laughed at that, and years and years later, Natalie and I both laughed at that. I could have been one of the producers for Natalie Cole with a string of hit records.
Mm-hmm. But did you guys remain friends throughout the years, though?
Oh yes. Oh, most definitely. Oh, most definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
So as far as like working with Chuck and Marvin, did you get a chance to work with them at all after that, or?
Not after that first song.
Okay.
Okay. Not after that first song. But we were always together, in the office and stuff. They were writing over here, and I'd come through the office and what you guys working on? But I wish I had. That's one of the big faux pas in my life.
And who hasn't made those over there?
I know.
A bunch of them.
You're right. You're a bunch of them. But that's how we grow. We can make those mistakes, and I don't think they're mistakes. They're just another direction.
Exactly. I think it was Miles Davis that said that there are no mistakes in music.
That's right. There are no mistakes. That's what I tell my students. When you come here to learn how to sing or write, there are no mistakes. We're on a journey. It's an adventure to venture within, deep in there, and just pull it up. If I'm teaching voice, let's just go in there and pull the voice up. It can be scattered, whatever. But when we pull it up, we can mold it. You can never shape or mold something that you can't see or you can't feel. So the thing is to go down and pull the feelings up, because it's all about the feeling. It's all about the passion. Excellent. And once we do that, we can mold it. If you can sing a C and I play your C, we can work. So you can't make a mistake, and there's never any judgment. Sometimes I see voice teachers and they're so hard on the students. My voice teacher was hard on me, and this has been 35 years ago, but I swore there's another way to teach. There's another way to show you how to do it. Where there's joy in it. There has to be joy in what we do. There has to be joy. I tell them right away, if you're not enjoying this, if we're not in the joy, then let's don't do it. Let's don't do it.
There was something I'm paraphrasing here, and I like the way you put it, and I'm totally paraphrasing. Your definition of success, the thrill of doing what you love.
That's it. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, I mean, when I can wake up and go to my piano or hear something humming in it, and then when it's on the paper or on the tape, there's no feeling like that. That creative feeling is so.
And I loved how you focused on that. It's the thrill. It's not just doing what you love. It's the feeling of that the joy, like you said, the joy of doing what you love.
Joy of it. Ooh. I am Billy Osborne of the LTD, and I write a lot. We've been writing off and on together for about 35 years.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes when we get an idea and we can't stop and it's just moving through us, and when it finally reaches the paper and we've done the demo, whoa,
Mm-hmm.
we fly through the house, we slap it. Sometimes we cry. It's just so fun filled
I
and
could totally see it.
it's
Well,
amazing.
let
And
me ask you while we're on that, I got to ask you, how was it to work with Billy Osborne? I had the opportunity to work with him like a few years ago, and
it's
quite a few years
great
ago, and
work.
it was
It's,
awesome.
like I say, we will laugh
Mm-hmm.
and cry sometimes when it's so good.
Mm-hmm.
When we got when we got it so good,
Right.
and that feeling of just euphoria, because when you can feel that way, knowing your craft first of all, you
Mm-hmm.
gotta know what you're doing. But
Mm-hmm.
when you feel that, nobody can tear that apart. Nobody,
Mm-hmm.
nothing,
Mm-hmm.
because there's an inner knowing. Because I take my songs and I pick them. I might write it 4 or 5 times for some before I get to where it's settled. This is it.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
I'm hard on myself. I want to make sure that every line, I know why I wrote every line in every song.
I know why I wrote
I
every
know
line in
why
every
I write
song.
every line.
Ah.
On the Prince song, Somebody,
Mm-hmm.
it was just coming out of the way I was feeling.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's 2 o'clock in the morning and
Mm-hmm.
I just can't sleep. Okay, in that one line, I've got a sense of time, place, and character and conflict. In that first line.
Mm-hmm. 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 Man, and I gotta say, this is like all my notes here. I don't know if you can see that.
I might have my glasses
Okay,
on.
okay. And what's, oh man, it's too bright. What's
Yes.
funny is that you're covering like a lot before I can even answer.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, please. Thank you for that. You're making my job that much easier.
I'm a talker too.
I love it. You were talking about somebody. Please tell the story of how that song ended up with Prince and him doing that song.
Okay. I'd written the song and another co-writer of mine helped to lay the track down for it. And we sent it to Prince, but he didn't record it, and somebody else recorded it. And then a couple of years later, because I had sent Mavis Staples some songs, because he was producing Mavis, and Mavis and I were sisters. I don't know. I became a Staples singer once when Mavis left the group.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So she called and told me that he had finished her album. Prince had finished her album, so the songs weren't gonna be for her. But she called me later and says, Prince is reading your lyrics.
See, somebody's calling for a song. Calling for a song. That's what that was.
And she told me, she says, he told her, he says, that Brenda Lee Eager is one of the best lyricists I know. Get her and have her to send me songs. No music, just her lyrics. And I want to put music to her lyrics. And that's what happened. I sent the song again to him with just the lyric. And that's how somebody came about. He recorded in about a year later. And then he sends me word that to wanting to know if I was happy with the if I was happy with the record and did I approve of the change he made? I'm like, you could have, and you can't see it, but it's right here. That double platinum record is right here.
Double platinum.
Over my piano. I was like, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. This is my inspiration right here.
There you go. How did that make you feel? I mean, Prince is quite the consummate songwriter himself.
That's what I'm saying. He didn't do other people's music or lyrics. He just didn't. You can count on your hand songs that he did with someone else. I'm like, well, I'm this little girl from Alabama. And, and let me tell you, I was in the gym when I first heard the song, and I was walking on the treadmill, and I heard the song come on, and I'm like, oh my
Oh,
God, oh my God.
oh man.
I wanted to tell everybody in the gym,
Mm-hmm.
my lyrics are coming out of his mouth.
Mm-hmm. As you're walking around, me.
Man, I wrote those lyrics right there.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
But what a thrill. And every time I hear it or see it, or every time I look at this record,
Mm-hmm.
it's just amazing to this little farmer from Alabama
I love it.
has gotten, it was my dream. My dream was to sing around the world and make people happy. Those are the words I told my mother.
Mm-hmm.
And I would see American Bandstand, and I would see, the Supremes and all these people that I've worked with
Mm-hmm.
that I just could only dream of working with them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm meeting them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, but that's what a song will do.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You were talking about growing up in Alabama.
Yes, on a farm.
What was that? What was that like?
Oh man, we lived way up. I tell people we lived off the main highway, which was concrete, onto a red clay dirt road, and you go way in the back. And then you go up this hill, and there's a farm here, there's a farm here, and there's a farm dead in the middle. That's where we were, my grandfather's land. And we raised all kinds of food. The only thing we bought at the store was cornmeal. No, not cornmeal. We made our own cornmeal. It was flour, sugar, rice. I think
that's the only thing you bought at the store. Everything else you made.
We made everything else. Our beef, our pork, our vegetables, and there were wild plums in the pasture. We go and pick those. My mother would can them. I mean, we lived out the land.
Oh, awesome, awesome.
And I left when I was 15 to go to the city to continue my education in the city. But from the age of 6 to 15, I was a country girl, and you can't get it out of me. Ooh, it's just what it is.
I love it. So what was that culture shock like when you left there?
Oh,
and like you said, you go to the big city. Was it at 15? You just said.
Well, I've been going to Mobile after we finished the crops. My parents would let us go to and visit our city cousins. So
after we finished the crops.
Right. So it was cool. I knew about the city, but as the people say, what had happened was my cousin came down from New York, and he was a grown man, about 35 years old, and he had this big Cadillac. And well, by the time he left the highway and traveled down that dirt road, his shiny Cadillac was covered in red dust, and he had dust and on his eyelashes and red dust in his hair. And he gets out of the car, just trying to clean himself off of the dust.
And a Cadillac is not good if it's dirty. It's got to be.
Yes, he was so
back then.
This doggone man, what am I doing down here? But he stayed and talked to my parents, and he told my mother, said, you guys should let Brenda come to New York because she can be a star in New York, and I'll help her. I do whatever I can to help her. She can stay with me.
Nice.
And so my dad was shaking his head like, She is not going. And my mother, who's always been in my corner, she said, let her go. She said, God's in New York too.
Oh, wow. Nice.
So he was by himself when he came that day. When he came back to pick me up the next day, the car was full of people. There were 9 people in that Cadillac. You hear me? 9 people. I had 5 cousins who sat in the back and 4 people in the front because there weren't any seatbelts. You didn't have to wear a seatbelt.
Right.
So there was no place for me to sit but on the knees of my 5 cousins. So I I would sit on this one for a while, sit on this one, all the way from Alabama to New York.
What?
I did that.
Well,
I was determined.
uh-huh.
I was determined to live my dream. And I stayed with him and couldn't, I went to the Apollo Theater. I said, I'm going to go ahead and audition. I went to audition and they turned me away at the door. It's no, because I was this little girl, I weighed like 85 pounds. And I'm in this big New York by myself. and the door of the Apollo seemed to be so big. Of course. But they wouldn't let me audition. But it wasn't only 6 years later, I was headlining. Wow. So
talk about determination. Talk about determination.
That's what, yeah. But I tell you, New York kicked my butt right on back to Alabama. Oh my God. Oh, I took a bus back to Alabama. I never even, the people were moving so fast. I couldn't, everybody was passing me. It's like fast motion and I'm going slow. The subways were filled up. I passed out one day on the subway because I just got overwhelmed with all the people up in your face.
Right, especially when you're living on a farm and there's nothing but field around you. You know.
Yeah, hello.
Right.
I was in open space. So New York was not the, but you know, hey.
Right.
Now I love it.
Right. Let me ask you about your friendship with Don Cornelius.
Yes, Don.
And Don Cornelius, the famous host of Soul Train.
Don would call when he first started Soul Train. It was in a little tiny room in downtown Chicago, and sometimes he wouldn't have any guests, so he'd call me up. Hey, you and your singers, you want to come down and sing some? We'd go down, sing sing on it before he even moved out here to California. But as soon as he moved out and it became, you know, the big Soul Train, he called and Jerry and I came out and I think we might have been the second or third guest of Soul Train. Wow.
Now is this a show? Because I saw in an early interview, I saw where the guest opposite you was Ike and Tina Turner.
Ike and Tina Turner, yeah.
How is that? How do you go from like this really beautiful mellow thing, you know, which is you guys, to
rolling on the river? Yeah, right. That was really something. We met, we became semi-friends, you know, and it was her birthday that day. And yeah, that was a cool day.
I got to ask you on a lighter note. Now this is back in the day when, you know, we wore some pretty wild outfits back in the day.
Yeah.
Honey, what was Don Cornelius wearing?
Yeah, whatever it was.
Is the white tie, I think it was, with the polka dot shirt.
Yeah, right.
Right, and of course, you know, the afro bigger than the television screen itself.
And
right.
the hair.
I saw that and I'm like trying to get into your performance, and then he introduced you and I'm like, Don. Whoa. Is that what we were wearing? And of course that that's what we were wearing.
It was. And especially in Chicago, those guys, they dressed in Chicago, boy.
Yeah, I'm sure they did.
They dressed, boy. All the colors, man.
All the colors.
And my friend who just passed away, Purvis Staples, Purvis was a really good dresser. He dressed, he was sharp. So Purvis and Don and a guy named Clinton Gent and they all were just great dressers. And they were definitely the leading forces of how other people were dressing in Chicago.
They were the leading forces.
They were so cool.
Of course, it didn't work if you didn't have the walk. You
had to have the walk. You had to have the walk. And you had to have the hat too, you know. Right. You got to have that hat. And everything's matching.
Right.
Everything. If you got a green suit on, the hat's got to be green. The shoes got to be green.
The shoes have to be green.
The socks have got to be green.
Right.
And look, it'd be that bright green to that bright.
Right.
Like, here I am.
Right. And you think of every color, every shade, every colors of shade, every shade in the rainbow, right? This
Oh,
is, you know, all the different men coming in with those different colors,
oh
you know?
yes, absolutely.
So,
But but they're
so
really good.
you had mentioned earlier that you teach songwriting. I knew, you
Yeah,
know,
when
that,
I first came out here, I taught songwriting. I teach like one-on-one right now, but I taught songwriting for Quincy Jones workshop years ago when I first
mm,
came out here.
mm,
Some of those
for
students are
Quincy Jones workshop.
mhm,
Okay.
yeah, down
Wow.
on Inner City Cultural Center
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and down on New Hampshire, I believe. It's been so long,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I got acquainted with some of the writers here that came to my class. As a matter of fact, I saw one of my students 2 days ago, hadn't seen him in 20, 30 years,
Wow.
but he still remembered. And his wife said, he's a good songwriter.
Wow. And is he still doing it? Is he still writing?
Yeah, he's still writing.
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
a lot of them are still writing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And you teach vocals as well?
I teach vocals and songwriting, yes.
Wow. Wow. And how do you find the time? I mean, you're busy.
Well, and I'm writing two plays. I'm writing music for one play for a wonderful play. Uh, some Howard University alumni
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
written, and I'm putting music to that. And
Wow.
then I'm writing my own play.
Mm-hmm.
I've written 3 or 4 plays.
As a matter of fact, I was going to one called Grace, the one woman
Yeah,
show.
that's my one woman.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's my one woman, and I just come out on the stage. I wasn't born in New York. Oh, I wasn't born in Detroit City. So I couldn't go to see the Motown Man. And Memphis, Tennessee was so far from me. But I'm singing my song right here where I am.
Nice.
And
Uh-huh.
then I go into, it's like, no, I was born on a farm.
Uh-huh.
If I had I said, if I had been in Detroit, the Motown Man would have signed me. And I told Barry Gordy
Nice.
that, and he said, yes, I would have. Yes, we would have.
Now, Grace, that one woman show, that's your story, correct?
That's pretty much my story, yes.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And then for I'm sure I have the order wrong here, but Spiral, musical development workshop.
Oh, wow, that is such a great piece. It's a Broadway show, and
Mm-hmm.
the writer is a beautiful lady out of the script writer
Mm-hmm.
out of Canada, and she commissioned myself and then one of my best friends, Ben Dowling, who's a phenomenal musician. I don't know if you know Ben, but
Mm-hmm.
he plays. Just look him up. His music is so beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
and he also plays with Al McKay. He's been with Al McKay and the All Stars for 20 years.
And his name again? You said Ben
And Ben Dowling.
Dowling. Oh, okay.
Dowling.
Right.
But anyway, the three of us have collaborated on this spiral that's it. If you go to the website, you can see the workshop.
Yeah.
But we've been working on it for 7 years.
Wow. Wow.
And they tell me it takes 10 years, 10 good years for like a major Broadway show.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Is this newly released? I mean, it's been out for a
We're still
while.
working on it. We're still writing on it.
Oh, okay.
It's
Okay.
still a work in progress.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
We've done some workshops and people are interested, and you get people interested. But my friends who wrote The Color Purple, the music for that, Brenda Russell and Stephen Bray.
Oh man, oh my God.
He told me, Stephen said, well, Brand, it's 10 years. Just think about how long.
Mm-hmm.
So as a matter of fact, I almost put it over here because, we're almost done with the music. So
Mm-hmm.
just let it cook.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm. And Brenda Russell, you work with Brenda Russell. One of my
I
all-time
didn't write
favorite
with
writers.
her, but she wrote Color Purple.
Uh-huh.
She didn't play. But
Oh, okay.
they're friends of ours. As we were writing our play, they're kind
Got
of
you.
telling us, well, this is going to happen. This is going to happen.
I
But
see.
yeah, we've been friends for many, many years.
Nice, nice, awesome, awesome. And then, what's it like to work with Della Reese and another musical, The Message is in the Music?
That was great. I auditioned for Della. It's been so long ago, and I read, and she was just she sat there as I'm reading the part, and she like looking in her eyes, and just as I'm reading, and I'm like, yeah, I'm nervous, but I'm going to read this part, And
Really?
when I finished, she said, "All right, you got the part."
Not
So
just like that's it.
that was it. That was great. Um, friend of mine, sister friend, there's so much to say. Oh Lord,
Mm-hmm.
her name is Patty Henley, and she was one of Della's. She goes to Della's church now, but she's my best friend of 50 years. And we started in the Operation Breadbasket movement, civil rights movement together.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a movie being made, a documentary of her and my life and the years, the 50 years of
Nice.
friendship up through the civil rights movement, being activist entertainers.
Mm.
So that's gonna be we pretty much got that in the bag.
Mm. Okay.
So
Okay.
uh, but we get back to Della. We wrote Patty pretty much wrote the story, but we did a play called We Sing Della, and we did it at Harrah's in New Jersey
Mm-hmm.
2 years ago.
Okay.
And I wrote the music, and she wrote the script.
Mm, nice.
So that we keep Della right in our hearts. I say all
Mm.
that to say her birthday is coming up, so I think they're going to show parts of the play
Mm-hmm.
somewhere.
On that documentary, I think you said, did you say it's a documentary? Is that going to be released anytime soon, or?
Yeah, well, we're in our producer director is a Canadian film producer, and he just heard our story, and he said, "This is a film. I want to do the film."
Mm-hmm.
And that's been 2.5 years ago. We've been to New York, we've been to Chicago, we've been to all these places to get footage of where we have spent time, and,
Mm-hmm.
and it's been great.
Mm-hmm.
But you can if you send me an email, I'll send you a trailer so you can.
Oh my gosh, I'll do that.
You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it.
I will do that. I will definitely do.
I'll
Note
send
to
you.
self: send email.
Yeah.
I noticed, like, in watching other interviews and reading a lot about you, and even our discussion here, your speak is lyrics. I mean, when you speak lyrically. And I remember when I was like I was writing down notes. I couldn't help but write down like a bunch of your quotes.
Oh, okay.
You know, I couldn't help it. Like I was talking about like the quote as far as success, and this is just something that's just, it's obvious. I mean, you didn't rehearse this. I mean, this just rolled out. And I thought, oh my gosh, let me write that down. Let me ask you about that. Another one, you were talking about being on the road, and you were definitely first call as far as like going on the road with people and all. But you did say, and this, I wrote this down. You said, "I never stay too long because I have a song to write.
Yeah.
I got a song to write. I got a play to write. I got stuff over here I got to do."
Yeah, exactly. And as a matter of fact, I was out with Gladys one time, and she told me, she says, "You need to get on back and doing what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You need, because I gotta do that.
Mm-hmm.
I got to do what I do. I've got to write a song. I've got to write a poem. I got to write a play. I've got to sing a song. It's just in me, and it's just overflowing these days. I turned 73, and it's like, now's the time, girlfriend. You better get on your job.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So now I'm like scraping, like, woo. But it's fun. I work on the Washington D.C. play. Then I'll stop and work on my play. Then I'll write. I'm about to produce a young lady. I'm working on a song for her. But I just allow myself space where I don't get overexposed and exhausted. I just give that time to this and give that time to this. If this one's pulling me back over there, I'll stop. Go back over there. I don't have a deadline. It's just like, I'm just
Mhm.
doing it.
And what I really loved about that quote is a lot of us will get caught up in the money making part of it, or no matter what it is, we get caught up in the money. Well, I got to do this so I can pay for that, and I got to do this so I can do
Yeah,
that. But when you said that, I mean, that struck a chord with me. I never stayed too long because I got a song to write. I mean,
yeah,
music is your priority.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
that's what you do.
Eddie, for 50 years, I mean, trust me, I've had some lean days,
Hmm.
but the universe has supported me in my dream. I've never
Hmm.
been on the street. I've never not paid the rent. So I'm doing okay if I
Hmm.
can do what I'm doing and pay the rent.
Hmm. Hmm.
Jesus, I mean, what else is there?
Hmm. Hmm.
I don't need a lot.
Hmm. Hmm.
I just told somebody in my apartment, a friend of mine, I said, I can't think of anything I need right now.
Wow.
You know,
Wow. Hmm. Hmm. Wow.
so
Awesome.
let me just write a song. There was a time, back in the day,
Hmm.
I lost all the money was gone. I just everything. My 401, all that was gone. I had
Hmm.
nothing but my
Hmm.
little girl and my boyfriend. And I was working a day. I what was that at a answering service,
Hmm.
and I just couldn't do that. I tried, and I was good at it, but my pressure started getting up, and the doctor said she can't work this job.
Oh.
But while I was doing the job, I would come home so exhausted. And my ex, God bless him today, he said, are you going to sit there and cry about how hard it is, or are you going to rest an hour and write a song?
Mm. Mm.
So that was what I gave to myself. I don't care how tired I am, if I have to do something else, when I get home, I'm going to write a song. I'm
There you
going to do
go.
something of
Hmm.
my dream.
Hmm.
Sometimes
Hmm.
you have to do what you have to do in order to do what you want to do.
Oh my God. See, there's an example of that. Sometimes you gotta do what you have to do in order to do what you want to do. There's an example of exactly what I was talking. Awesome, awesome. Let me ask you this in closing. You probably already answered this question. What advice would you offer those who choose this as a career path? Those are up and coming in this business.
Paint your picture, write your song, build a castle of your own, climb your mountain. You can sail the seven seas, ride your rocket ship in space, and find your quiet inner place to reveal your destiny, whatever it may be. You know better than anyone what you want from this life. Never let someone else take your dreams away. Go for what is right for you. Only you can make your dreams come true. And wherever it takes you, I'll be by your side. You don't have to be Superman to be a hero. You don't have to be an overnight superstar. The best that you can be was good enough for me. Because all of you is all you'll ever need. So live your dreams. Live your dream. That's all. That's what I say.
Talk about a surprise ending, and I have nothing else to say.
I don't know
That's
why I was trying to play piano in front of you, but
please,
but I
please.
I can write, but don't
Yeah,
call.
you can.
Look, it's like don't call me to be on a. Hey, can you come and play keyboard? I'm like, are you out of your mind?
Oh
But
my
but I'm
gosh.
still studying. I study piano. That's another thing.
Hmm. Hmm.
I didn't start taking piano lessons till I was 50. But I still, there's so much more to learn that I still allow myself time every day to practice.
Wow. Wow. Until you were 50.
I always wanted to play, but I was intimidated by the piano and piano players.
Wow. Uh-huh.
It's such a beautiful instrument.
Well, that was like very good. You took your lessons very seriously, and you can tell that you do practice.
I do take them seriously.
And that's another thing for all those people that are coming up. Do practice. If you're learning how to play an instrument, practice is important. I tell my students that all the time.
Yeah.
You know, all the time. Practice is extremely important.
Yes.
Wow. Brenda Lee Eager. You were awesome. Such a beautiful spirit. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this.
It has been my honor and my pleasure. Thank you.
Man, the honor and the privilege were all mine. Believe me. I love you. You were awesome. Thank you so much for being on the playground where the players play.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.